All right, guys. This is Jay coming at you live on November 22nd here from the Mekong Underground in Houston, Texas. We are coming at you opening tonight with an elimination match between Tony Goofy Morris and Miss Sarah Wiseman. Right now, I do believe that Miss Sarah is holding a slim 3-1 lead over Mr. Morris as we get our Friday Night Weekly underway. Happy early Thanksgiving to everyone, since Thanksgiving is next Thursday, and we will probably not see you guys till next Friday night. I think Friday Night Air Hockey next week is still up in the air with the holidays. A fairly decent turnout tonight. We have got a tournament made up of, it looks like a 9-man turnout this evening, so should be making pretty quick work of things tonight. The half of our winners bracket final is already set, as Anthony Marino made it through, defeating Tyler Gibson in the semifinals, and we have got another winners bracket semi coming at you after this match between Sarah and Tony. Sarah now to a commanding 5-2 lead over Goofy Morris. Looking to close them out here in game number 1. Would like to thank all of our sponsors here at Air Hockey Live 360. Obviously, as always, our friends at the I-45 Bingo Hall, and our new sponsor at Old Humble Distilling Company. Good local whiskey produced right here in the Houston, Texas area. Them picking up a sponsorship for us end of last week. We had the master distiller out here last Friday night. Started having a conversation, but we might have imbibed a little bit too much of his product. Tony Morris has quietly closed the lead now to 5-4. And is looking to not be closed out here in the losers bracket match, but now it looks like Miss Wiseman has taken a 6-5 lead over Morris. I apologize. Trying to keep up with the hands of our official, but that is a no doubter. We are now at sudden death here in game number 1. I would also like to thank all of our individual benefactors. You know who you are. Without all of you and the Humble Distilling Company, the 45 Bingo Hall, and where'sthegig.com, we would not be able to bring you these wonderful matches every week. Well, there it is, folks. Sarah Wiseman closes out Tony Morris in game number 1 of this elimination bracket match. Players be switching sides, and we will be doing it again. For those of you unfamiliar with the Friday Night Weekly Championships, this is a handicapped event, so it would appear, I believe, that Tony Morris is getting a point here in this match against Sarah Wiseman. Each match is a best of 3 game competition. Each game is a run to 7 points. So it's essentially the first one to score 14 moves on. This is a double elimination, so an opening loss does not end your evening, but a second loss and you will be trunk slamming and heading home. And that's what we have going on right now between Wiseman and Morris. Tyler Gibson patiently waiting to be a winner of this match. Looks like our officials having a conversation with our commissioner Phil Arnold about some rules. I'll see if I can get an update about what's going on with that. Looks like Tony Morris is going to start this match with possession. And this is an unhandicapped match, folks. Both these players starting with 0 points. I was absolutely wrong about Goofy getting a point there against Miss Wiseman. And our good friend Charles has just arrived.
Hey.
Glad to see him out.
Yes. Glad to be here, of course. What are we going to do about the equipment, though? All right.
And there's a full bottle for you.
Hey, appreciate you. All right. Let's see what we have going on here. A little bit of action back and forth here. What's that? 4-4 looks like. Ooh, sneaky one from Sarah. One for Tony. Gets one by Sarah on that. The sneaky forehand. Very nice. Oh, and Sarah right back at him. She's got point going. Got us a good one going here.
The no drinking. There's like 12.
All right. Oh, and Sarah closes it out with the straight hand there. Very nicely played.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me, you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, you know, it was too much. These people are more intense than that.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, you know, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey's not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real concern.
The arcades are virtually extinct these days.
Unless somebody is able to come in and do some really radical marketing, you know, it may not be around.
We have wives, we have jobs, we have things that we can spend our money on rather than coming to Vegas to play air hockey. So there's definitely something about air hockey that's keeping us going.
We really still need to reach out and connect the fan base to the sponsor base to the player base.
Oh, you got 700! Like the win, 16-3! 4-7-0! Unbelievable!
The moment of playing air hockey, there is no misery. You're playing air hockey.
Why they have jump rope and things like that on ESPN and not air hockey, it's kind of beyond me.
My name is Brian Acrocco. I'm the President and CEO of United Air Hockey Promotions. I have been running air hockey tournaments for about 15 years now, and I manage them here at SMU in Houston. Most new players, when they step up for the first time, they're quite surprised at the quality of skill that we have at the sport. Most people out that have not seen professional air hockey don't realize how advanced it actually is. Ready?
back.
So they can at least hear it. They'll be able to hear us too, though.
Let's catch the score up here. It looks like it is 4-2. Junior over senior.
Fairly certain Junior got a head start over Senior.
I think it was a 2-point give.
It's 2 weeks in a row of family time here at the Mekong Underground. Had battles between the Gibsons and the Wisemans last week, and this week it's a battle between the Marinos. Their fifth cousin, twice removed Dan, could not be here again this week.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
We go with what works, sir. We
That's
go with
right.
what works.
We take all the victors.
Again, another shout out to Old Humble Distillery.
Yes.
Beautiful bourbon, beautiful sponsor, and boy, it has sure made these broadcasts that much more relaxing. Talking with the master distiller last week, this beautiful whiskey, it is completely and totally rye free. It is just their mash is derived from only malt and rye, no barley. I got that the wrong way.
Yes, that's
I
correct.
got that wrong.
That's correct. And it is very smooth.
Very
It is very smooth.
Not a bad sipper, but boy, mixed with a little splash of Pepsi, it is turned into heaven.
Or your favorite cola?
That Brockmeyer guy was on to something with the way he does his baseball broadcast. Anything we can do to entertain the 200-300 of you watching us here on a Friday night?
I don't know if we're going to check the standard deviation on that, but we'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. Yeah,
We're actually
it sounds
pulling
like
it
a
up
good
right
number.
now. It's always nice to know when we're not talking to ourselves around here.
Oh, it's all yelling into the ether, really.
For those of you who just tuned into the replays, you'll find that the replays that are most creative are generally when no one's watching live. Got a good one going here between the Marinos. The younger sitting on game point over the older. Looking to be a 6-4 lead for Junior right here. Looking to beat Dad and take some bragging rights home with him this evening.
Your dad will never live that down. You go home and look your son in the eye and know that he was better than you tonight. But he gets one by right on cue, as if he knows. As if he knows.
I wonder what the penalty for being your father is in air hockey. A week of being grounded, this being a week off from school. Marino Jr. better be careful right here.
He doesn't seem too concerned. Because he is definitely going for it against dear old Dad. Let's see that going here. Whoops. And Junior gets the Duke.
And Joseph, thanks for tuning in, Joseph. Joe being the distiller at Old Humble Distillery has just chimed in, and the mix is 90% corn, 10% barley. I was so off. And it has been aged 5 years in different used bourbon barrels. Again, thanks to our boys at Old Humble. They are making air hockey fun again. I've also been told we can't see the puck.
Yeah, it's kind of bright, that the contrast on the table there. It's difficult to follow. We have the benefit of having the first-hand camera view, so it's a little different for us. But we're going to try to tighten that picture up for you all right here. Make it a little bit easier to see somehow if we can.
And obviously we're having some issues getting it to where y'all can see the puck.
Oh, that was
there
good.
we go.
There we go.
And that appears to be a whole lot better.
Still going to be a little bit of shine on the left, but we're going to work with it. We're going to follow it. It's going to be all right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to get you caught up on the score here as soon as we can discern what it is. It looks like the game is over. Just like that. Junior beats senior. Junior beats senior.
Junior won.
Yeah, junior beats senior. Yeah.
So that is going to put that. Guys, we'll be right back after this very short break.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. And I'm thinking about explaining to her first that, to me, you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove.
All right, guys, we are back. This is an elimination bracket quarterfinal between Tyler Gibson and Sarah Wiseman, and Tyler Gibson has now knotted it all up at a point apiece. Gibson tries the left rail, ends up doubling it up off the right side, and it was just a sloppy shot, and it cost him a possession.
Doesn't seem to be affected by it though, as he grabs possession back. Sarah seems to be content to be a little passive here, kind of letting him control the action right now. But she does get the Duke on the score there on the forehand. Oh, and he goes right back at her, tied at 2.
Good battle between the younger siblings of two of the star players of Air Hockey Live 360, Chris Gibson and obviously former world champion Jacob Wiseman. Sarah knocking off older brother Jacob last week, and this is a rematch of last week's final, I believe.
I think that is correct. We'll have to go back in the record and check that, but I believe that's right. Sarah right now on the attack, controlling the puck.
Okay.
A little back and forth action here. Sarah controlling the board. Right now, Tyler just playing a little defense, but sneaks one by off the left rail. Oh, and a straight forward by Sarah gets it in. Okay, we're trading shots here back and forth all of a sudden, turning into a little bit of a shootout. Defense becoming a little bit of a premium here. And Sarah scores again. And again. All of a sudden, it's point game. Oh, and then she scores on herself. Gives one back. And then, oh, okay, I think I was ahead of us. I was ahead on the score a little bit there. I apologize. It's got to be point for Sarah now. Oh, I'm sorry. Gibson gets the Duke. All right, start of game 2, and Sarah out the gate immediately with the straight hand. Tyler on the attack, loses the puck off the table. Oh, Gibson gets one by. Sarah right back at him immediately on the attack. You have these little flurries where they just kind of go back and forth against each other. She gets him every time on that forehand, though. The forehand is lethal. Gibson right back. Very evenly matched players here. You can tell. Skill level is very equal. They're both very clever with the puck, but they're also very lethal on those forehand shots, as you see there. And there. It's like they're listening. I don't know. You know. We got a little rally going. And another forehand, Sarah Weissman. And she seems to have found a plan of attack that she likes. Got stoned there, though. Oh, Tyler gets one by. Oh, and Tyler gives one up. A little bit of a mental mistake there. Oops. There we go. Score is correct. And there it is. Wiseman with the Duke, forcing a decisive game 3. And there's one right out the gate by Tyler. There's another one. Tyler rushing out to a 2-0 lead. Up. Sarah gets one right back. Oh, Sarah ties it up on a deft near rail shot there. Tyler scores on himself yet again. Brutal. Couple of mental errors here. Could be costing him the match. Could be slipping away from him in his own hands. Oh, but there he goes with the comeback shot. Tied at 3.
Beautiful backhand from Gibson. Comes down the right side, and Wiseman didn't stand a chance. Wiseman answers with the backhand of her own. Now coming a little bit across the table, going to the opposite side. And these two just trading those backhands back and forth right now. 4 quick points between the two. And now we stand pat 5-5. Beautiful shot from Wiseman, coming hard down the middle again. Both these players really needing to tighten things up on the defensive side of the table.
Very decisive point here for Gibson. He's got to score to keep himself in it. Keep Sarah from scoring.
Gibson with an obvious slowdown in the action on his side of the table, getting a lot more deliberate with his shot selection because he can't afford to waste a possession now. Already behind 1 game to Wiseman at this point.
Well, they're tied.
Oh, they're tied.
Yeah, this is a decisive game 3. Yeah. For all the marbles.
Wiseman, a little bit of drift work, looking to line him up, but opts for the timeout instead.
Sarah's on the attack, probing, trying to find a weakness.
Gibson was solid defense since Sarah got to game point, but unable to get the settle on that puck.
And she gets him.
Finishes off Gibson. Tyler Gibson trunk slamming and going home, and Sarah Wiseman moving on to the elimination bracket semis. Folks, we will be right back after this short break with some more Friday night air hockey action.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me, you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
This guy hit the throat.
I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, it was too much.
These people are more intense than that.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey is not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real
All right, folks, we are back. We have got our other elimination bracket semifinal, I believe, between Jacob Ortiz and Chris Gibson. Pulling up the brackets right now. If you folks would like to follow along live with what's going on, you may track the brackets at brackalope.com. Put cons, that's KHON, apostrophe S into the search engine, and the Cons Weekly will be the first result you get. Click on that, and you are following along live with us. Jacob Ortiz now up 2-0 over Chris Gibson. Oh my goodness, I said Ortiz. His last name is not Ortiz. I apologize.
We got to fire that stat boy.
Yeah, our intern totally dropped the ball on that one.
We got to get us a new one, somebody a little more reliable at the information.
That's it, Ralph. You're fired. Take your no money making butt and get out of my studio. Would like to thank Peter Lippincott for setting up our new studio over here at the Mekong Underground.
Yes.
Our only complaint is the complete and total lack of airflow in this little 4x8 office we're in.
We do need to invest in the fan.
Beautiful shot by Munoz, and now up 3-1 over Gibson.
Last thing we want around here is sweaty balls.
Munoz really running the table here on Gibson, moving ahead 5-1 on another beautiful shot. Gibson just unable to come up with an answer defensively for everything that Jacob Munoz is throwing at him right now. And Jacob Munoz again scores, and now at game point 6-1 against Chris Gibson. Winner of this match is moving on to face Sarah Wiseman in the elimination bracket semifinal. While L.A. Marino is waiting patiently at the championship table for things to play out, we have got this match and two more to decide who will face off with him at the championship table. Anthony Marino, the elder, waiting in the elimination bracket finals for the winner of Sarah Wiseman and whoever comes out victorious in this match right here. Chris Gibson finally getting off the schneid, but it might be a little bit too late as he still trails 6-2 and Munoz staring down game point. Jacob Munoz closing out Chris Gibson in the opening game of this match, 7-2. Players are going to switch sides. We will reset and get ready to do it all again.
Let me hit the can too.
And we are off, folks. And the trend continues as Jacob Munoz opens the scoring here in game number 2. Gibson finally able to sneak another one by Munoz, and Jacob unhappy with himself, showing a little bit of emotion for surrendering that point right there. Solid jerk work from both these players, doing what they can to loosen up the defense of their opponent. We are all knotted up at 2 now, folks. Gibson is not going to give up this elimination match quietly, while Munoz trying to finish off game number 2 and move on to the elimination bracket semis right here. Gibson out to a 4-3 lead now, though. Now 5-3. The momentum has definitely shifted over to Gibson's side of the table, but Munoz not done fighting just yet. Seen a very marked increase in the pace of play with these two players versus what we've seen so far this evening. Both these players really going at each other hard. Munoz cuts the lead down to 2, but he still is in danger of losing this game. Now trailing Gibson 6-4, and Gibson gonna win game number 2, 7-4. So once again, we will switch sides, reset, and this last game is going to be for all the marbles, folks. Winner of this match moving on to face Sarah Wiseman in the elimination bracket semis. Jacob Munoz opens the scoring with another beautiful backhand. The backhand being the theme of the night here at the Cons Weekly. It is now 10 p.m., folks, and you know what that means. It means that our friends up at the I-45 Bingo Hall are now just 45 minutes away from kicking off the weekend bingo action. Make sure you work your way up there. Bring your mobile device so you can follow along with the live air hockey action and take your shot at $10,000 guaranteed in cash and prizes. Game starting at 10:30. The I-45 Bingo Hall located on the corner of I-45 North and 1960. Man, the scoring's coming quick. I am having trouble keeping up with what's going on. I think the score is 4-2 Munoz.
It has been fast and furious to go here in the game 3 as these young bucks are going at it. Ooh.
Those of you who watch us on a regular basis know Jacob Munoz with a 4th place finish at this year's World Championships and voted the most improved player of 2018. Wonderful honors for the young Munoz and a great showing at this year's World Championship. Gibson with a mistake on the attempt, and he surrenders the possession over to young Munoz. Still have an outside chance, folks, at an all-family final for the 2nd week in a row. This week, the Marino family with the young Marino at the championship table waiting, and Father Marino waiting in the elimination bracket final for the rest of the eliminations to play out. Sorry, folks, having trouble keeping up with the scoring, but Munoz has match point over Gibson right now, a 6-5 lead and a game victory already, 1 point away from ending Chris Gibson's night. Good forehand from Gibson, but an even better block from Munoz.
Yeah, that was solid defense there right on time, but he's got to be careful. He's leaning. And Gibson's been very crafty. There it is. High game.
High off the right rail, sneaks it under the defense of Munoz, and we have sudden death for a spot in the semifinals. Another good block from Gibson. Munoz unable to crack the defense at match point.
You gotta love it when the puck is flying off the table. You know the action's hot and heavy. That's like another junior high, right? Hot and heavy.
Yes!
Oh, and Gibson pulls it out.
Little bit of a sloppy defensive mistake by Jacob Munoz, gonna cost him the match and going to cost him the night. Jacob Munoz finishing up the night in a tie for 6th place. Should have our next match of the evening is going to be Chris Gibson against Sarah Wiseman. We will have that elimination bracket semifinal for you right after this short break.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me you're like an air hockey team.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, it was too much.
These people are more intense than athletes.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey's not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real concern.
The arcades are virtually extinct these days.
Unless somebody is able to come in and do some really radical marketing, it may not be around.
We have wives, we have jobs, we have things that we can spend our money on rather than coming to Vegas to play air hockey. So there's definitely something about air hockey that's keeping us going.
We're really starting to reach out and connect the fan base to the sponsor base to the player base.
Oh, you got 500! Like the win, 16 to 3. 4 sets to 0. Unbelievable.
The moment of playing air hockey, there is no misery. Playing air hockey.
Why they have jump rope and things like that on ESPN and not air hockey, it's kind of beyond me.
name is Brian Airhockey. I'm the president and CEO of United Airhockey Promotions. I have been running air hockey tournaments for about 15 years now, and I manage them here at Houston. Most new players, when they step up for the first time, they're quite surprised at the quality of skill that we have at the sport. Most people out that have not seen professional air hockey don't realize how advanced it actually is.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, it was too much.
These people are more intense than ever.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey is not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real concern.
The arcades are virtually extinct these days.
Unless somebody is able to come in and do some really radical marketing, it may not be around.
We have wives, we have jobs.
All right, and here we go. Gibson versus Wiseman. One nothing for Gibson. Wiseman with the forehand ties it up at 1. And the puck has left the table. Gibson on the attack. Wiseman defending expertly. Rebuffing all of those shots. Now she has control of the puck. And Gibson with a score on himself. And gets stoned by Wiseman on the forehand. Very good defense by Sarah. Oh, I have the score wrong here. Looks like Sarah has 3. And 4-2 now. And Sarah sneaks one by on the near rail. Beautiful shot. Useful, that. Oh, and she gives up the defensive blunder there. But takes it right back with the forehand. Gotta love that resiliency. All right, Gibson on the rebound there. And Sarah closes him out with a deft forehand. Amazing. What a great finish to that first game. Right into game 2. And Gibson with the quick one. I didn't realize Sarah was getting 2 points. Ooh, and we're quickly seeing why she's a +2 against Gibson here. That's also why her defense has been so good. She realizes who she's up against. She's taking no risks. And we are joined again by Jay.
I am back, but Chuck is going to keep talking to you.
Sarah gets another one by. And so does Tyler. Back and forth they go, trading buckets, as it were.
Again, the winner of this match will face off with the Elder Moreno in the elimination bracket final.
Oh, and Gibson sneaks one by. He's trying to stake this game away. Sarah's got to be careful. Oh, she gets a step for it. Oh, and it's right back the other way. I have barely a chance to get the words out of my mouth. Oh, Gibson wins 7-5. On to the decisive game 3. Oh, Tyler snakes one by. Oh, and Sarah right back at him. A little stall here. I think the table turned off. Gotta restart the table.
Weissman clinging to a 4-3 lead here over Gibson. Moves ahead 5-3, and she's rolling.
All right, it's getting tight coming down here to the wire in this third game, third decisive match.
All tied up in a game apiece. Every point matters that much more. And Sarah Weissman makes it to match point first.
And Gibson fighting back. He's not going to let it go easy. Sarah's going to have to knuckle up here and make sure she closes it out.
Sarah with the quick timeout. More gamesmanship than anything there, I think.
Definitely look like it. Oh, and Gibson makes her pay immediately.
And this elimination bracket semi has come down to sudden death, folks. Next point wins.
There it is.
Is it going to be the younger Weissman or the older Gibson that moves on to face Marino in the elimination bracket final?
We're using that younger, older thing a little loosely here, aren't we?
There's been a lot of family time here the last couple weeks, folks. And it is going to be Chris Gibson. Sneaks out the win, coming back from down 5-3 to finish off Sarah Weissman 7-6 in game number 3. Folks, we got a big match coming up between Chris Gibson and Anthony Marino. We will be right back after this short commercial break.
Like us on Facebook. Airhockey360.com.
My name is Brian Akrocko. I'm the President and CEO of United Airhockey Promotions. I have been running air hockey tournaments for about 15 years now, and I manage them here at SRP Houston. Most new players, when they step up for the first time, they're quite surprised at the quality of skill that we have at the sport. Most people out that have not seen professional air hockey don't realize how advanced it actually is.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, it was too much.
These people are more intense than that.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey's not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real concern.
The arcades are virtually extinct these days.
Unless somebody is able to come in and do some really radical marketing, it may not be around.
We have wives, we have jobs, we have things that we can spend our money on rather than coming to Vegas to play air hockey. So there's definitely something about air hockey that's keeping us going.
We're really starting to reach out and connect the fan base to the sponsor base to the player base.
Oh, you got 500! Like the win, 16-3. 4-7-0. Unbelievable.
The moment of playing air hockey, there is no misery. Playing air hockey.
Why they have jump rope and things like that on ESPN and not air hockey, it's kind of beyond me.
I'm thinking about this woman in Colorado that I really like. You know, I'm thinking about explaining to her first that to me, you're like an air hockey table.
I like fighting to the death on the table, you know, like a gladiator.
I just got hit in the throat. I fell in love with air hockey in June of 1973. I picked up the mallet, no glove, didn't know anything about it, won 18 games in a row. There was so much energy going through my body of air hockey greatness that my arm just, it was too much.
These people are more intense than that.
What do you think, honey, of the air hockey crowd?
I won't say anything.
There's a lot of individuals in air hockey. They have unique interests and they're not a real mainstream. Men, traditionally competitive, typically not in relationships with women, kind of loners, kind of in love with the table and maybe married to the table, I don't know.
I used to play air hockey every day. I'd play 30, 40 games a day. I would just play air hockey. That's what I like to do.
That's ridiculous.
Mark feels like he has to make sure that air hockey's not going to die, to make sure that when he is dead, air hockey will continue living.
I think the extinction of air hockey is a very real concern.
The arcades are virtually extinct these days.
Unless somebody is able to come in and do some really radical marketing, it may not be around.
We have wives, we have jobs, we have things that we can spend our money on rather than coming to Vegas to play air hockey. So there's definitely something about air hockey that's keeping us going.
We're really starting to reach out and connect the fan base to the sponsor base to the player base.
Oh, you got 500! Like the win, 16-3! Score 7-0! Unbelievable!
All right, guys, here we go. This is it, the final table championship match. We have got another family battle between L.A. Marino and Anthony Marino. But we are going to call them young and old because it's so much easier to discern them that way. I was going to go with the choices were young or old or 8-ball or cue ball. We went with the young and old. It felt less offensive.
Yeah, the cue ball thing is kind of close to my heart. I kind of have that same hair pattern as the older Marino.
Well, you got to be like me and do something about it and just shave all that nonsense off.
Yeah, at the point you got to just give up the ghost, Besides, women dig the bald.
I have completely taken part in No Shave November, but I have continued to shave my head.
And it is about that time for me as well.
I'm loving the facial hair, though. Don't think we're going to let it go.
Nah, the beard's in. They're like a little scruff. Give them a little scruff.
I know there's a that's what she said joke in there somewhere.
We're just going to let it ride. We're going to let it ride.
Let it
ride. That's
favorite dad joke since we're here.
Right.
What do mermaids wash their fins with? Tide. Ha 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 ha.
And my best Dan Smith.
As we are making jokes, young Marino is quietly taking a 4-2 lead here in game number 1 over Dad.
And they are off and running.
The threat of a multiple-week grounding not stopping the youngster from beating up on Dad at this point. It's a rematch from from an early match
Right.
in the winner's bracket, and the youngster obviously able to come out victorious over Dad.
And we'll see if Dad's learned anything from that previous outing.
With the way we're set up, though, the youngster's only going to have to score 14 points to Dad's 28 to walk away with victory. So if the youngster can close out Dad in the first match, we will be done for the evening. If Dad manages to win match number 1, we will reset and do it all again.
Oh, and the younger gets one by.
Now holding a slim 5-4 lead over Dad.
Dad's trying to be real crafty there with the puck play, but Junior looks like he's seen a little bit of it. Although he lets one get by there. Oh, and then he gets one by Dad right there. The benefit of youth, right? Those quicker twitch reflexes. Kind of using it to his advantage.
Uh-oh, and the son risking time in the corner, knocking Dad off 7-6 in game number 1. So we will switch sides, reset, and do it again. Now, in Dad's defense, the youngster is getting a 3-point head start in each of these games. So this could be it, folks. The son could beat the father.
There's a biblical joke in there somewhere, but we're just
Some
gonna let
about
it
the
lie.
prodigal son, but the prodigal son left and then came back. Whereas the son isn't really prodigal because he hadn't gone nowhere.
He's
is
more
right
native,
there.
right?
Yeah.
He's more of a native son.
I guess that's where we go with it. Reminds me of an old Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes are Family Circle, one of them. It must have been Family Circle because it was a one panel.
Ah, yeah.
The young son standing there, arms in the air. Dad walking away from the TV. They're playing video games, and Mom says, "So was his win legit, or are you just buttering him up to rake the yard?" Came a time with my children as a 40-plus-year-old man. I have not touched a PlayStation since I have been unable to beat my children in John Madden football.
You gotta pick up the sticks.
If I ever needed evidence that my children are mine, my son looked me right in the face and said, "Dad, you're welcome to practice this when we're not here."
That is savage.
That, folks, was the end of this father's John Madden football career.
That is so savage.
Maybe savage, but it's definitely proof he's mine, because if there's a one thing I'm good at, it is running my mouth.
To thine own self be true,
That
right?
Having trouble getting an updated score here from our official. We'll get it on the next score. I believe we are still got a clean slate here in game number 2, and no one has managed to score yet.
That's 3-1.
Well, I am completely wrong. It is 4-1. We've got
4-1.
one score on either side. One
Okay.
natural point from the son, one from the father. Not to get too far away from air hockey, but while we're talking about it, the Houston Texans with an absolutely glorious win yesterday over the Indianapolis Colts. Still doesn't do anything to take the sting away from what's going on over there at Minute Maid Park in the juice box right now.
Well,
And as a lifelong Astros fan, folks, I cannot find a defense for what has been done. I'm gonna have to play this polar opposite of a loyal Patriots fan. I just can't defend what's going on. I mean, I understand stealing signs is part of the game, but the use of technology that my Astros the evidence just mounts more and more every day.
Yeah, it's not looking
And
good.
I think we are looking at record penalties coming down the pipe. Maybe up to there have been, it has been the Yes Network that I've been watching that has done the most coverage, obviously, because the poor Yankees got whooped so bad in 2016 or 2017 in the ALCS. But our counterparts on the Yes Network have been saying that it could be as much as Jim Crane having to sell the team.
Oh my.
And that is going to be it for air hockey, folks. To get away from baseball and back onto topic, the youngster Marino beats Dad 7-3 in straight games. Was it 7-4, 7-3? And he is going to be our champion for November the 22nd. Folks, we are not 100% sure what's going on next Friday for Black Friday. Obviously the day after Thanksgiving, and I don't know about you crazy people who love standing in lines on Black Friday. I would rather sit on my couch on, what do they call it these days? Monday?
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday.
Don't gotta wait in line while I'm sitting on my couch watching the Netflix.
Or the Disney Plus.
or the Disney Plus, which, now we're gonna let that joke go because it's inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate.
But it has been another fun night here at Air Hockey Live 360, folks. Again, a shout out to our two major benefactors at the I-45 Bingo Hall and Old Humble Distilling Company. Thank you so much for all your support. To all of our private benefactors out there, a big thank you as well. Again, folks, for Mr. Charles, my name is Jay. We look forward to seeing you in the next couple weeks, but this is Air Hockey Live 360 signing out.
Deuces.
We